Hi again. I hope that you are taking your lessons well. Typography, as we know, includes all those elements that make your web page readable and attractive. This session speaks of this term and begins with the details of web typography. Next, you learn about the rules of typography and the guidelines for website typography. Then, you learn about fonts and their types, that is both free and paid varieties. After this, it explains how fonts are used in web designing. Following this, you learn how to integrate fonts on the server font package through scripts. It then explains how fonts are optimized. Moving ahead, you learn about examples of great website typography. Eventually, the session ends with information on the additional resources of web typography. Henceforth, learn to use the right typography to improve your web page's look and feel. This in turn attracts more visitors to your website.
Fonts. Let's start with the first point. Fonts play an important role for user experience. Font leaves either a good or bad impression in the mind of user or reader. Whenever you see any content which is very decorative, that we make that decoration using a font. So that font creates an impression to the user, how it will look like or how it feels to the users. So font plays a very important role. It sets an impression to the user's mind. Next, create a brand message to complete your website. Fonts, basically, we use fonts for the logo. For designing a logo, we use fonts. There are different types of fonts we use. Whenever we want to design a logo, we think about logo, slogan, and after that, we'll think about fonts. That font is important for the logo also. What type of fonts or what type of message we have to convey to the users or any other persons, that how it is important. So first we choose a font and that will make an impression to the end users also. So it creates a brand value also. Like an example, suppose for an example, we take example of Coca-Cola. The name Coca-Cola is written in the format of script or handwritten script. Now suppose if Coca-Cola name is written in simple font like Times New Roman, how it will look? It does not look good compared to the handwritten font, right? So that is the impression of the font that sets in our mind regarding Coca-Cola brand. And to set the values to the users, there are many types of fonts that you can use. You can use free fonts and paid fonts to our website or to create a logo. There are a number of sites that from where we can download a font. So these are the free font sites. Number 1 font Squirrel, Urban Fonts, Da Fonts, Font Space. From here you can download the zip file for the fonts and you can extract that file and you can use into your website. So these are the free fonts and paid fonts. Fonts.com, Font Spring, Graphic River, My Fonts, these are the paid fonts that you can use and you can use these fonts on your website. font importance. The first part, a key for making a brand and set message for a brand value. Like I said, font plays a very important and crucial role to create and communicate message to the users. Suppose you are creating a brand or a company or setting a company and you are writing or creating a logo for that company and you are setting a slogan for that. So your font is making an impression what you want to convince to the users or the people. That what you are going to use. What type of your brand is. So font sets very good impression to the users, sends a very useful message to the users. Visitors are more likely to engage with websites and for business. Apart from the logo, if you are using a font on your website to decorate your website, like using a title or for heading or for body, if you are using different number of fonts or different types of fonts, decorate your web page and decorate your website also. That will be engaged with your users and you can grow with your business also. That's why fonts are very important. Types of fonts. First, serif. These classic and original fonts are known as serif. Serif has a little feet at their top and bottom. When we are using a character of a serif, then it has feet at top and bottom. Serif fonts are mostly used to print a document or for a printing purpose, we use the serif font. There are subtypes of serif fonts. We can say a traditional serif like Times New Roman or old serif like old style. Then slab serif, that is Rockwell, neoclassical and Diadon, that Marconi and Didots. These are the serif fonts that we use. Next, sans serif. Sans serif is a modern version of serif, that lack of serif, that is feet. In the sans serif, feet are absent. Mostly we use these types of fonts in our website, or these are in a larger size or for body. Sans serif are ideal choice for body, paragraph as well as logo or for heading also. So there are some types of sans serif, that is geometric, sans serif non-ghostic or humanist sans serif. These are the sans serif fonts. Then handwritten scripts. Handwritten script usually associated with elegance, creativity and personal touch. For that purpose, we use handwritten scripts. Add fonts. So suppose I want to add the fonts, or if suppose I download the font or a custom font that I have downloaded for my website and I want to add that fonts to my website. So these are the steps to add the fonts in your website. First, download that font. Download that custom font zip file. Then create a web font kit on your machine. Upload font file to the website. You can upload that font file to the website using FTP or control panel. By using FTP and control panel, you can use update and upload CSS. After that, uploading a font file to the website, you can update your CSS or upload your CSS. In that CSS, you can change the font face and the family of the font. Then use font in CSS declaration. So I will show you an example how to declare the CSS for fonts. This is the example at font face. Set the font family, set the URL, that is source URL for EOT. Set the URL for WOFF file, that is custom font file. Set the format as WOFF. URL for OTF file and format as open type that you can use it anywhere in your website. Then set your URL for the custom font and SVG file for the custom font. Then set the format of SVG. There are many types that you can use, but it is basically for the net purpose or for the font purpose we use SVG format. So these are the fonts and importance of fonts and how to use that font into web. Now in this session, we will see optimizing typography. So optimizing typography means we have to optimize our process to show the web page very first on a screen, that is called as optimizing. So let's start with the optimizing. For a start, lazy loading fonts may delay text rendering. That is why we use optimizing typography, because of the text rendering delay. When a font gets delayed, then it will directly affect the text rendering in font. Rendering is when font load into the system very late, then it will delay the text rendering, then it will show the fonts late on our screen. That is why we use optimizing typography. What happens actually late in lazy loading is when a browser requests to the HTML document, then the browser begins parse. The HTML responds and constructs the document object model for the request coming from the HTML document. So when the DOM checks that request and browser discovers that it has a process of CSS and JS, means it's delayed. If you are using a font, then it is related to the CSS and JS. Then the resources of CSS and JS will dispatch that requests to the CSS OM. Now the CSS OM and DOM will combinedly construct a render tree to paint the screen or to avoid that delay. So that is how it processes behind the screen. When and lazy the loading fonts occurs when the CSS or GS components is not getting that font on time while rendering. So the CSS OM, that is cascading style object model, will not able to show that text on screen. So because of that, we have to optimize the font. We can optimize that font using preload web font resources posted at URL. So we can use the preloaded web font resources. Like we can in the CSS, we can, or in the URL, we can use the defined tag. That is rel or link relation equal to preload. So we give the command to the CSS OM, or that is CSS OM, cascading style sheet object module. We are giving the order to load the content of font before it loads on a page. Because of we can control over the font loading and rendering. So for that purpose we can use the UPI also. Web font uses the UPI for lazy loading. So this is how we optimize the typography, or we can optimize the look font in typography or in a website. Examples of typography. So these are the examples of typography. That is the first screen you are seeing image, that is from ayr.com. That is all year round. It is the website. You can see this website for the reference. This is the best example of typography. When you visit this website, you will know how actually it constructs and how they are showing their layout in the format of typography. So next example is bravepeople.co. This is another site of typography or example of typography. As you can see, the way of they are using the font and the effects of that font, and how they are managing the content and the web page, website. Next, collabogive.com. This is another site of typography. You can check that. Option. This is another site, the lifesayarms.com. This is another well and good site for the, you can check the best typography over here or in this site also. So these are some examples of typography. So now we will see the next additional resources of typography. So first is the visual rhythm. Calculating a modular scale and framework to build. So these are the resources, additional resources for optimizing. Visual rhythm means we can use the number of fonts in that font should be in a hierarchical way. The modular scale means you can use the standard format, the spacing of the font, standard fonts. So let us see again some of the tips for the optimizing typography. First is minimum number of fonts. Whenever you're creating a website, then make sure you are using minimum number of fonts. Then clear typographical hierarchy. It should be in well hierarchical format. We have to show that is our font size should be good, or font weight should be good, or font color should be good, and our alignment that we are setting to the page, that must be good. Then instead of using zigzag fonts or heavy colors of fonts, you can use a standard font that supports or that would render fast on our web pages. So that will optimize our web page very quickly. Or for optimizing, you can use SEO, that is Search Engine Optimization tool. Also, you can use to optimize the web pages. There are many more tools you can use to optimize our web page also. Using SEO, that is Search Engine Optimization. Then optimize line spacing. You can optimize the line spacing also. You can use or avoid fancy font colors that will take time to render that color and paint that color onto the text. It will create a delay for the text or to show the text on a web page. So these are some points or additional resources that we can consider to optimize a web page or typography. So that's all for the optimizing typography. Thank you.
Have you heard about the word typography? Can you brief me about it?
Typography is an art. It is as important as the color and graphics used in a design. It has a great impact on how your design is received by people. If a text has been designed using typography and it holds the top position in the visual hierarchy in the design, it becomes the first thing that a person sees.
We are learning a lot about many topics. To retain your knowledge, you must understand and enjoy this journey. Let's start with a new session now. Say you click on a colorful educational website. It will surely hold your attention. Similarly, for creating a colorful web page for your website, web designers use a web designing tool called Adobe Color. This session starts with the steps of using Adobe Color to decide on the color options for creating a wonderful web page for your website. Then, it explains the color wheel and the color harmony rule. Next, it gives the different color harmony options like analogous, monochromatic, triad, etc. Following this, it gives a detailed description of each color harmony with pictorial examples. It then explains how and when these color harmony options can be used in your web page design. Then it introduces the concept of warm and cool colors and explains their position on the color wheel. Further, it gives different color modes like RGB, etc. and explains how to switch between them. Next, it explains two unique features of Adobe Color, such as extracting the themes and gradients of pictures. Then it gives the different color modes for theme extraction. Next, it gives you a detailed description of accessibility tools, trends, contrast checker, colorblind save, and explore. Finally, it explains how you can check your libraries, change the themes, play a color wheel game, etc. So, get ready to experience colorful fun while designing your web page.
Hi, and welcome to the Adobe Color module. In this module, we are going to see how you can get combination of color for your website design or any kind of designing you want to do. Usually when we get started with designs, we get confused about what type of colors and how many rules we should use, and how to select colors as per the color rules. Often we get confused about what colors should we take as per the color rules, and that's where the Adobe Color can help us. This particular tool lets you choose color as per the color rule and latest trend in the industry. So let's have a look at it. You can simply go to any web browser and you can search for color.adobe.com. It loads a web application in your browser, which basically is by default set to create option. And here you can take and extract colors as per your choice. So let's first look at the color wheel option. So in the color wheel option, you can see that we are getting the option of a color wheel, where we can simply take up to 5 colors based on the selection on the color wheel. So if I move any of the points, you can see they are going to move along and all the other 4 points move. They are moving because we are taking colors as per the color harmony rule. Now, you might ask, what is a color harmony rule? So if you want to know more about the color harmony rules, you can simply go here and you can see the Adobe Color gives you a tool tip. The color rules ensure a harmonic balance of colors based on the colors you have set as a base color. And in the color harmony rules, you have various rules such as analogous, monochromatic. You have complementary, split complementary, double split complementary, square, compound, and shades. You can take and extract colors as per your choice. So, what are analogous colors? Analogous colors are those colors which are next to the color of your choice, or next to the point you have chosen on the color wheel. So you can see if I am selecting this yellow color, it shows you all the colors just next to that color. And if you move it around, you can see all the other 4 points move just next to it. So that is known as analogous colors. You can also take monochromatic colors. Monochromatic colors are those colors which give you the different shades and tints of the same hue. So we call these colors wheel and these colors as hues. And you can see if I'm selecting the red color or the orange color here, it's showing you the same color or the same hue, shades and the tints of it. And if I move it to any other place, let's say if I take to the green side, you can see we are getting all the different shades of green and the tints of green over here. So these are known as monochromatic colors. You can take triad colors, which are split into 3 lines on the color wheel. If I move my primary color, let's take cyan for example. You can see all the 3 dots are moving. So we can take triad colors like this. Then you can also take complementary colors. Complementary colors are opposite to each other on the color wheel. So if I'm taking yellow, you can see it's showing me a blue shade on the opposite side. If I go to red, you can see it's showing opposite of the red as green. And these are known as complementary colors. Complementary colors are very good if you want to create contrast in your designs. They are used a lot on background with the text. Usually, complementary colors should be used less in your design, as they can get lot of contrast in your design. And sometimes it could be too painful to the eyes of users. Then you can also take split complementary colors, which are basically similar to complementary colors, but now splitting that colors into 2 parts, as you can see. This is split complementary. And you can see now we are getting 2 colors of the green, which are the opposite to the red. Then we have a double split complementary here. In the double split complementary, you're not only getting the split complementary colors, but you're also getting the 2 analogous colors next to the color you have chosen. So if I move towards the yellow side backwards, you can see we are getting a combination of yellows to orange, and you're getting a combination from blue to pink on the color wheel here. Then you can also take colors in the square format, which simply divides the color wheel into the 4 equal parts and displays the colors on the extreme ends. So if I move it diagonally here, you can see I'm getting 5 very different colors. Then you have compound colors. Compound colors are those colors which are on opposite sides of the 180-degree line of the color wheel. If I move it towards the warm colors, So remember, your color wheel on the right hand side is known as warm colors, and on the left hand side it is known as cool colors. So you can see, currently I am seeing all the warm colors here, which I can pick in my color wheel, or I can move it again to the 180 degrees and I can see all the cool colors in view. So compound colors are very good colors if you want to just divide your color wheel in 180 degrees and choose one side of the colors. Then we have the colors for the shades. And if you choose the shades, then you're going to see the single color shades. For example, if I go to the red, you can see all the shades of red. Now do not confuse the shades with the monochromatic. Remember, monochromatic will give you the shades and tints and tones of the color also. So if you go to a monochromatic, we can see how the colors are changing. You can also have lighter shades of it. In shades, you will most likely see only the darker color shades of the selected color. So these are known as shades. You can also go to custom. In custom, you can simply pick up 5 colors as per your choice. It doesn't really matter what you need. So you can simply change and pick the colors you need here. So you can pick the colors in the Adobe Color using the color harmony rules. Once you like the colors and you wish to save it, you can simply save them to your Adobe Creative Cloud libraries as design colors and you can use it. In case if you do not use the Adobe Creative Cloud libraries, you can also take the colors from here in the hexa code, or you can take the colors in the RGB values. You can note down those values and use it in your design. Currently, you can see the colors are presented in the RGB values, but you can also change the color mode here. You can switch the color mode from RGB to CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow and black. Then you can also take colors on the basis of hue, saturation and brightness, known as HSB. And you can take the color values as per that. Lastly, you can also take the color values in LAB colors if needed. Most likely you're going to use RGB if you're going to design websites. If you're going to create something to print, you are most likely going to use CMYK. So when we are going to switch back to the RGB and Besides this, Adobe Colors gives you 2 major features as well: to extract the theme out of pictures and extract the gradients. So let's have a look at it. If you're going to the extract theme, you can simply drag and drop your file of any image here and you will be able to pick the colors. So what we will do is click on select a file from a system. Go to my desktop, go to the Adobe Color and you can see I have a few pictures here. Let's say I want to extract the colors from the nature to image, which I have. So you can simply click on open and you can see Adobe Colors automatically detect the 5 colors from the image and giving those values. You can also customize the picking of the colors by simply moving it around. So you can extract colors from any image. You can also pick the colors based on the color mood. Let's say you want colorful, which is showing you here. You can say pick for all the bright colors. Pick more muted colors. Pick deep colors. Pick only the dark colors or none. So it lets you choose your own colors. Now I will go to the bright colors and you can see I have a nice palette here. And I can simply click on save, or I can copy their color codes as I like and I can use it. So now click on save. Now it will ask me to sign in into my account. You can sign in and you can save those colors in your Adobe Creative Cloud. We will go back now and let's see how we can extract more colors. We are going to select another file. Let's select this image with deer. Then I'll click on open and you can see it instantly extract my colors here. But I need more colors from deer. So what I can do is I can simply go on any point and move, and I can pick from the colors of the deer, as you can see. Besides this, you also have an option to extract gradients. So you can take any picture and you can create a gradient out of it. So I want to create a gradient of this deer's skin color. So what I can do is I can simply keep one point here, one point over the mid color and one on the lightest color of the deer. And you can see I have nice gradient forming up here. You can also take gradients in more steps. Currently you can see it's been only 3 colors, but let's say I want more. I can increase the gradient stops here. So from 3 to 6, now I have 6 variations of a gradient here. Let's replace the picture. So let's go to replace. I want to pick this picture here and open. And you can see we are instantly getting a beautiful gradient out of this image, which is up to 6 steps. Let's reduce the steps to 3. And you can see we have a much better gradient, which you can adjust also. If you just want gradient from the rainbow here, I can simply move the colors as per my choice. And I can just pick the colors out of that rainbow. And you can see we have just the selected colors of the gradient here, which we can use in Photoshop, Illustrator, or anywhere we want. Now, let's look at the accessibility tools. So, Adobe Color also gives you a very good option of accessibility to check whether your colors pass in contrast or not. So, if you go to the accessibility, you can check your colors for the contrast. That's the first thing you have here. You can see in the tools we have a contrast checker. So if I'm taking a white text and a background color of orange, you can see it fails in the contrast. What we can do is we can pick the suggestions which Adobe is giving us and click on apply. It says that this combination is the best for the AAA, rules of accessibility. What if we go to the AAA rules? Now you can see it fails again. So it is again suggesting us a better contrast, and by simply applying it, we can get a better contrast of colors here, which we should use in our designs. If you're still not happy with the contrast, as you can see it's still failing, we can increase it manually and try to reach a level above 7. Now you can see we have a perfect contrast ratio here. So the accessibility tools tell you how to check the contrast between your text and the background. Besides this, you can also look for color blind safe. So, with the color blind simulator, we can check how a particular color will be visible to a person who is blind to a particular color in the color wheel, and whether it is in contrast and visible for them or not. So, the accessibility tool is a perfect combination of extracting colors, choosing the colors as per the color harmony, and lastly, you can also check the colors as per the accessibility tools. You also have the Explore option, where you can simply search the colors by a keyword and you can get colors. For example, you're looking for colors for a business website. You can search for business, and it's going to give you the colors which are generally used on a business website. You can simply click to open it up and you can use the colors. Besides this, you can also look for trends in the color. So it will show you what is the most trending as per the particular community. For example, in graphic design, illustration, UX and UI, architecture, game designing, wilderness, flavor, travel. So you can see it's showing you the major categories here. Let's say we are looking colors for the UX and UI. So let's look at the trending colors in UX and UI. Go to view more and you can see it's showing you all the trending colors. If you like a color, you can simply take it by downloading it as a JPEG, or we can add all the colors to a library and then we can use it in Photoshop, Adobe XD or any other application. So that's how you can have trending colors. Now you'll also have access to your libraries. If you're logged in, it will show you the recent colors you have taken from the library. I have not logged in here, so I can go back and I'm not going to see my library colors here. Now besides this, you also have one option features. There are few more items you have in the color.adobe.com. You can look for the new features that are coming up. So you can simply go to the new features to see which features are just recently launched and what is coming up. You can also suggest a feature to Adobe. Besides that, you can also change the theme. The black theme so that you can focus more on colors and simply switch your theme whenever you like, and you also have a nice color game here where you have to remember the color which is shown in the color wheel and you can start playing the color game. So you can see this color blinked, so I'll click on this one and it will score 1 here. So you can enjoy the game here. Besides this, you also have the options for help, forums and feedback to Adobe. You can also log into your account before you start using color.adobe.com. So let's go back to the create. So that it's a simple tool to extract colors and choose colors for your websites.
What color scheme will you use for a web design wireframe?
Usually wireframes are designed in grey or black and white scale. However, if we are designing it as a prototype to get the client's approval, then we can design a wireframe in color. And in this case, I will use the color scheme as decided by the entire